Welcome, everyone, to the very first KWC USA Judges Corner Show. This is instead of doing our normal Q&A, we are doing a judges show because we want to showcase our judges. They've put in a lot of hard work, and also they've seen, I know a lot of them have been really excited this whole season, and they've seen who's been making divisionals. They actually are done judging the divisional rounds, and I want to talk with them about their experiences, how they like to judge, things that they saw, and things that are very encouraging to them, and maybe things that they see that like is a common thread between all singers that either they can work on or something that they really like that they never thought of. The first thing I'm going to do is bring in Ian, our chairman of the board. Hello. How are you doing?
Hi there.
So I want to make sure that the audio works for you too. But Ian, thank you so much for being here and all the work you've put into it. He's also not only been the chairman of the jury, he's also been mentoring pretty much the judges as well. It's I think you're frozen again. Oh no. There we go. Now you're back. But he's also been mentoring judges and also helping us as well, and really clearly defining like what it takes to be a judge, and the scoring criteria and different things that that we see when we're judging. Because I know I used to judge this. I'm really happy I don't judge this anymore, and I'm also really happy that we have very qualified judges that that we have now, that I don't feel like I have to judge. I trust all you guys to make the right decisions. So. Oh, we got a lot of people saying hello. Oh, Grant Cullum. And Miriam, who's she's at home. She's usually on our Q&A questionnaires. And it's good to see you all watching. If you're watching this right now, remember to share this all over the place on social media. This is being shown not only on Facebook and our YouTube page, on our kwcusa.org page. It's also on our Twitch page as well. We have a KWC USA Twitch page because this is a competition, and it's sort of like an electric competition as well, like because it's all online. This is gaming almost because it's virtual. So, Ian, how have you been liking all the videos so far?
Oh, absolutely fantastic. Divisionals, I know we can't talk about with any specifics, but thoroughly enjoyed every round of divisionals. Overall, there was a big step up in quality with the videos and the songs and productions, and that really, to me, told me that collectively our judges made a lot of the right decisions in the qualifying rounds. And were there people that I would have loved to have seen in divisionals? Of course, and not everyone can make it, but there are a lot of great singers and videos in every single round. Each one of the rounds is very
we might have lost you. All right, we'll come back to Ian in just a second. Oh, wait, he's coming back in another stream. Look at that. That might have been temporary. Oh, there we go.
I'm here. Now, each of the rounds was very competitive and made for some very difficult decisions for judges. And that's exactly what we want. That's exactly what we hope to find.
And the level that it's gotten from the time that people auditioned to the time of divisionals, I know that I watched a lot of the videos. I wasn't judging them, but I wanted to take a look to see what were, before the actual show, what everything looked like. And the videos were incredible. So much better. The quality, not only just the regular video production, but even the sound, and the singers really took the time and care in making those videos.
Yeah, it's clear that people have either been listening to the Q&A shows or getting feedback because they're KWC members and getting the feedback from the judges, talking to the mentors, or they're watching the shows, the results shows, seeing what other people are doing and picking up from that. Whatever way they're doing it, there were lots of people who made great strides forward of progress in the videos that they're putting in, and that's really exciting and wonderful. And there's singers that I'm always paying attention to, because the people who go through to national finals are going to get that benefit of coaching with a variety of professionals in different disciplines to help improve their performances. So we want people who are receptive to coaching, who are going to hear tips and feedback and decide which to implement and improve and grow stronger. That's what the program's all about. And so it's wonderful to see that so early in the competition.
That's awesome. It makes me feel really good about nationals. I know last year it seemed like we didn't really hit our stride till we got to the training program, because everyone was still figuring out the whole technology thing. So it's really cool to see that everyone's starting to grasp it and bring it in, and also that people also weren't. They did what they were comfortable with. Like, I don't want singers to like come in and try to switch everything overnight of like, I'm going from a singing app to recording at home, just trying it myself, because sometimes it can be drastic results, like really bad or really good. And so I know a lot of them have been trying to move up, and we over the last few weeks, we've been saying, hey, do what you're comfortable with. If you want to do it in Smule or Whirly or Yoki app or Voice app or Star Maker, or all these great singing apps, do it that way. Do it the way you're the most comfortable with. It's more about showcasing what you have as a talent and not showcasing your little technical skills of what you can put in a green screen or what you can put behind you. I know that Thomas Hine, who is actually our judges coordinator, he's been finding our judges along with Ian, and he's done all the legwork to find these people and vet them, and also he's been judging as well. And he said the audio video was so much better. Great singers. And we really appreciate everything Thomas does. I was hoping to have him on this show as well. But I'm going to bring in our other judge who is with us right now. And I have to say that this judge is like our veteran judge. He's been with us for, I think, longer than any other judge we had. He started off as a Florida director of the Karaoke World Championships. The first year I came back, when I was the Washington State director, and I got to meet him in Arkansas. And then when I became the national director, or I should say, we became the national world partners, we wanted to make sure that Trevor was there, because he is amazing. And really, with Trevor, since you've become a judge, I know a lot of people say that they're like, oh, Josh, you've won all these golds. I couldn't do it if we didn't have a good panel of judges, because I know in the past, I started in 2010, and there were only 3 of us in 2010. There were supposed to be 4 of us, and I got actually pulled off the judging to shoot the promo for Karaoke Battle USA. And I was really bummed, because I'm like, oh my God, if there's a tie or anything like that, like, and I was the only one who does decimals. I like decimals. I like to break everything down in like micro points. And sure enough, there was a tie, and there should have been a disqualification. There was a lot of like weird things. But when you only have a small sample of judges, it's harder to find that next world champ. And I saw what you did with Florida. You actually, your year as the state director, you found not only the U.S. champ, but the silver medalist in the world in Jeff.
Yes.
And kudos to you, because since you've been judging with us, I think you only took 1 year off, right?
Yep.
It was like
Yep.
1 year off.
Yep.
And we have medaled every single year.
Yeah.
Every single year. So
well, I had a little bit of a head start. This is actually my 5th year with KWC, but it's my 16th year in either judging national competition, being the judge coordinator for the state of Florida, and then twice, once for another competition. I was the director for the state of Florida, and then once for KWC. So I started, like I said, about 16 years ago, judging out in Laughlin, Nevada, and judged for that contest for 3 years, and developed the judging program for the state of Florida. And in my time with that contest, Florida produced, I believe, 9 or 10 national champions. And I saw the amount of talent. And then, you know, for me, I 35 years of classical and opera performance training is what I came from. And so the first time I was asked to judge this karaoke contest, I thought, this is going to be a nightmare. Because all I was exposed to was dark bars with drunk people singing really badly. Right. But when I went into that year, we had 250 singers at our state final here in Florida. And the level of talent was just absolutely amazing. And I got hooked, hook, line, and sinker. And fortunately, through some bad situations and bad timing, I found KWC, and I believed in the program. I believed in what it stood for and the opportunities that it could bring to people. Yeah. Jeff was a prime example. I knew Jeff, and he was a music minister in his church. And he would come into the competitions, and there was always something just slightly missing. And so before he did KWC, I talked to him about that. And I told him, I said, Jeff, I know you're a music minister. Why are you not bringing the same thing you bring to your ministry to the songs that you're singing? It's still a message that is coming from somewhere, whether it's the higher power or whether it's just the writer of that song. You're delivering a message. So think of it as you're delivering a message from God to these people. And he did that. And that was the year he ended up winning nationals, went on to win silver in Singapore.
That's awesome. One of the things you brought up was that there was that little something that was missing. Yeah. And that was something that when I was offered to be first the state director in Washington and then in nationals, it was like, that's the one thing I saw. A lot of these singers, I would see them outside or I'd see other videos and be like, oh my gosh, they're so incredible. And when you get into competition, things change. Yeah. Part of it is that when you're in competition mode, your attitude tends to change too. Yeah. It can be a really negative experience, or some it can be a really positive experience. Yep. So it's really hard to fight off those things as well. And all of a sudden, you aren't being yourself. You're 100% authentic. You.
Yeah, and I think that's one of the words I used a lot this year is authenticity. And I think one of the problems that many contestants have is they don't realize, they think they have to come in and they have to change something about themselves to please the judges. And that's not the case. Nope. As a judge and as talking to many judges over my years, what we want to see is the authentic performance from a contestant, from a person, not what you think you want us to see or what we want to see. It's who you are, what you bring to the table, and how you present yourself, how you perform. Stop trying to be something you're not. Just be yourself and have fun.
And what the great thing about the program now compared to how it used to be is part of the notes that you can get back from the judges. Back in the day, you'd have to go find the judge and you'd be an emotional wreck. And you try to find out what it was, and everything was on paper. Like there was no electronic trail. Right. And now the judges are judging it. I know a lot of the judges watch these videos 3-4 times to really, really get to that number of like, how am I supposed to score this and what is going on with the person's performance or technique? But that right there can make someone go from they're always placing 5th at nationals to becoming a world champ. I saw that with Michael White. I saw that with Miko. I saw that with Andy Never Ready, where it was just like there was just those couple things, and that's why we started to build a training program and and because we're like, we just really want to be stronger coming out of the gate, especially when we hit worlds.
Right.
And by offering the notes, it's so valuable for the judges to give that input.
Yes.
Because
and I think it is so important for the contestants to get those notes, because I know I get accused a lot of times, especially in the live competitions. I always get kind of compared to Simon Cowell because I'm brutally honest. Your friends, the contestants' friends are going to tell them they're the next American Idol. They're the best singer they ever did. That's not my job. My job is here to be honest with you. And I try to say it in a very positive and uplifting and encouraging way, but I'm going to be brutally honest with you. And, there are some contestants that come on and they've got a gimmick and they present this gimmick, which is so much fun. And artistically, I love seeing that. But when the artistic side of it overshadows what you're actually there to do, which is to sing, then you have an issue.
Yep.
And so if you get those notes and you can apply them, and this year especially, I don't know whether they got our comments or not, because we don't have that access, but I've seen the development from first rounds to the divisionals where people have actually shown improvement and shown changes. So it's been very good to see.
Yeah, I really feel like that's part of the difference in these divisionals.
Yes.
Is that there's a lot more of the singers were members, and really they reached out, they got their notes.
Good.
They really worked on it. And some of them who even weren't maybe members, they reached out to other people who they knew, who were watching, and were like, hey, what do I need to do, instead of going to their family members or their best friends. Because when you're the best singer around the rest of your friends,
right,
it's like I always want to surround myself by better singers,
right,
because it's the only way we can get better. And when you're the best singer in that circle, everyone's like, no, you're awesome, that was great, that was awesome.
Well, and unfortunately, even if they're not,
I
mean, I've been in the presence of, God love them, some people who love to sing, and I encourage them to get up on stage and sing no matter what. But I've been around some people that they did not hit one correct note in the entire song. And I've heard their friends come up to them and say, oh my gosh, you need to audition for The Voice or for American Idol. You're the best thing here. And I'm like, really? How do you think that's helping your friend?
Well, part of it is the performance aspect. When people say that, a lot of times if you put a lot in the performance, even if you're not pitch perfect, you're so engaging that people are like, oh, you need to be on the show, because they were so enthralled with what they're seeing. In fact, I know that Ian and I want to bring this up really quick. This is maybe a little bit off topic of KWC, but right now there's a singer out there named Sarah Brand who is becoming famous for being off key. And but you watch her video, you watch it and you're like mesmerized. First of all, you're mesmerized, like, how is this girl so off key but consistently off key? Like it's like almost perfectly off key. And then the presentation of it is a really kitschy, cute video. So you're sort of get like wrapped up in it. And it's had more hits than anyone else. She's I don't even know what she is. She was 3 in the UK list, and it's a cover. It's not a new song. So it was sort of odd for me, but when you watch it, you get sort of caught into that whole thing. And she's not that great of a singer. She actually might be a great singer.
Well,
but I'd like
so many times the best singer is not always going to be the person that wins this contest or any singing contest, because it has to be the total package.
Yep. Ian, can you hear us?
I heard that part. I heard my name.
Oh.
I do believe that Red Dress is a new song, Josh. I believe that she wrote that.
No, I feel like I've heard that before.
Well, I think that might be deliberate, though, in the styling. I think that part of the lead to the chorus is very Taylor Swift. Puts you very much in mind of a couple of Taylor's songs. But yeah, when somebody is off key for virtually every single note, and yet whatever note they're hitting fully. It feels very deliberate, and there's a certain kind of vocal technique going on there that is jarring and feels wrong, but at the same time there is some skill involved, and I think that she's deliberately hitting those wrong notes, and that's some kind of vocal styling. It doesn't mean it's easy on the ear. It doesn't mean that I'm saying that there's something wonderful about that, but I think it'd be very interesting to see what she does from here. And maybe, maybe her second album is going to be her deliberately singing on key. We'll see what kind of a singer she is then. But it's a fascinating video to watch. I've been really engrossed by it. And the fact that it's got so much attention, both.
We lost.
We lost.
Oh boy. Oh, I was trying to Google the song. It because I actually thought it was a cover. It just sounds like it would have already been out, and I feel like I already heard those lyrics before. Welcome back, Ian.
Thank you. Sorry. She's featured in Newsweek magazine this week in the US, interviewed by the BBC, all kinds of media markets, all kind of exposure for the second single for a singer. She's got something right. She's doing something right. So the question is, what can she do with it from here?
Right.
Yeah.
Gimmicks will get you so far.
Yeah, exactly. And it's going to get you far to a point, and then it's going to be like, oh, and Miriam actually says there's a clear pitch manipulation on her vocals. So I think it's intentional to be off key. Ian and I actually were talking about that early today. Because it was like, I'm like, she's almost like perfectly off pitch, but she's not modulating outside of that. She's like really in that off pitch key, I would guess. She's almost like singing everything in a Phrygian minor. Like it's really bizarre. Like, oh my gosh. And then, but you're like so drawn to it because you've never really heard anything like that. But I know that pitch with singers and stuff, pitch is one of the things that I've seen also in this divisionals has gotten better. And I don't know if they're going and getting more vocal training or watching a lot of videos. There's some great videos on Facebook, not Facebook, on YouTube about how to properly breathe, how to really form your vowels and consonants, things that really can throw off your pitch, which you don't realize it. And then I see that maybe it's from the notes, but it comes from a lot of it comes from technique, where it's like you can possibly sing close to perfectly on pitch. I don't believe in perfect pitch. No. So you can get as close as you can for you, but you can make it better by learning these little tiny small things. And those notes, especially from those judges, really showed the difference in it. I actually I don't know what the results are. I know it's done being judged, and I don't want to know the results. I know that someone already tried to sneak it by me, and I was like, no, don't want to know. Because I already watched the improvement with some of these people where it's also like you're rooting for them. I don't want to know until day of. So like, I'm just so excited to even show the show. And Miriam's look, she's Miriam, she thinks that people are doing better because they're picking songs that work for their timbre and their range. And that is also true. That is also true.
Song choice.
Oh yeah,
is key.
What was this year the most challenging thing that you faced while judging? Ian is left for a second. Okay. He's right back. He'll be right back.
Yeah.
But I would like to know what you guys thought was the hardest thing about judging this year. Like, what was the one common thing that you saw with almost all the videos? And let's start with Ian, just in case he gets dropped off.
He may not have heard it.
Ian, did you hear that? No, I don't think he can hear us. All right. Well, Trevor, can you start off on that?
That's a hard question. For me, I personally, one of the hardest things for me judging last year and this year being digital because of my background. I was raised in a large opera house, and that was before we had microphones. And so we had to use breath control and projection to make sure that we hit the third balcony.
Yeah.
And so having all of the different types of microphones, the different effects, and in a lot of my notes, I've mentioned to the contestants the effects that they use through some of these programs as a judge are a little bit off-putting, but also a little bit difficult to be able to actually judge their authentic vocal, because I'm hearing more of the effects and what the effects are doing to their voice than what the ability they actually have to do are. I think when you're making videos for yourself or online or whatever, that's great. But for a competition, I really want to hear the person's vocal. I think it's great. Nobody has a voice good enough to have no effects in it. So some effects are great, but when they're overwhelming and they overshadow, because some of the contestants I have heard in person in past years and so forth, so I know what their ability is. So when I get these videos and they're so overproduced with effects and everything, it's very difficult. And then just, you know, trying to not be too critical. And even when there are things that I just want to kind of grab a hold through the screen and shake them and say, why did you do that? Why are you doing that? You know, I try to just be positive and encouraging and give them suggestions that help make them even better. But other than that, I mean, I just think it's so great, A, that you all have put the effort forth to keep this going for the contestants during this difficult time. I was just mentioning today to some people that it's been unsettling the past couple weeks that since we've started to open up again, that I have seen so many of our contestants and other people from other competitions that I know that have started posting online that they started going back out to the karaoke bars and now they're coming down with COVID.
Yep. And when, yeah. And, you know, actually 2 months, when everything started to reopen, I had some of the casinos reach out to me, and also some venues in some other states that were interested in holding the national finals for us.
Oh, wow.
And I strongly considered it because I was like, ooh, but I was like, you know what? We promised people, and I also went to the board. I talked to our board about it too. And it was like, we made this promise to keep everyone safe. If one person gets sick, one person even dies because they come to national finals here. And right now, look, I love living in Las Vegas and I love it here, but it is a playground. Yeah. And when you come, it's Sin City for a reason. So when people are coming here, they're not being safe. Even though we have a mask mandate, they don't want to wear their masks. Things aren't cleaned the way they were before.
Right.
And that's happening all over the US. So we it was so quick to forget to do those types of things. And now we're back in this area. I don't really like talking about this, but you know, I feel like our dedication to stay online really was the best decision we made all year.
Yeah. Well, it says something about you all and how much you care for the contestants. And I think I've said this before. I don't know if I've said it to you, but that's the only reason I continue to do this contest is for the contestants. I don't care anything about it for myself. I mean, I get enjoyment from it because I love listening to new talent, but I do it for the contestants, and I do it year after year for the contestants. And also because it's one thing right now, especially in our world, it's one thing where race, sexuality, sexual orientation, politics has nothing to do in this contest.
No, it doesn't.
And that's so beautiful.
And the thing is, and I do appreciate everyone's different opinion about it. Like you know, so it's just like, if you don't want to wear a mask, it's fine, but you have to realize you're putting yourself at risk. You're putting others at risk. But it's more of like, That's one of the great things about this country is you can have your own opinion. So also it's like, because I know there are people who are part of this competition who might have different views and be like, I want to be live, and like you should have just done it. And you know what? Trust me, there's that little bit inside of me that's like, this is silly. Let him come here and let him be part of this.
Being in one of the states that has the highest rate of infections right now, and a governor that just is fine with people getting sick, trust me, it's much better to keep the people that you care about safe.
Yep. And your state is one of the states that actually wanted to bring nationals there. And so that's why I was like, and I was like, ooh, that would have been cool right outside of Orlando. And you know, we really need to keep staying safe. I'm really happy that that some of the singers who, I shouldn't say I'm happy they have it. I'm happy that they caught it after they made their divisional video.
Yes.
You know, like I'm like, okay. But you know, it stinks. I know that I'm still suffering after a year of having it. I still have weird symptoms. I still have the headaches. You know, and the last thing I want is to catch it again.
Yeah,
so,
exactly.
You know, whether or not someone else wants to get vaxxed, I went and got vaxxed just for my own peace of mind. If it doesn't work, it doesn't work. But
well, it's just like the flu vaccine. You can get the flu vaccine, but you can still catch the flu. You know, it's not like, you know, when I was a kid, most of the people that are in this competition probably don't know anything about polio vaccines,
right?
Any of the vaccines we got as kids, but they were developed so that you would never get that disease again.
And you know what happened? People actually did get polio.
Yeah.
But it wasn't severe, and it actually eventually went away.
Right.
Eradicated. So, anyways, we need to go back to the judges' competition. Got the chat over there. And I know Ian's having some technical issues. Really wish we could have him in. I know that we have other judges that are supposed to join us. We just lost them again. They're supposed to join us. So I would really like them to be to come on and everything. But you know, I'm like, I would love to talk about judging myself. I know for me, like I was saying earlier, I'm really about the decimal points and breaking things down. When we look at the criteria of the voice and technique and artistry and stage presence, and then we break it down, I'm always a stickler to our rubrics. I feel like that is what sets the KWC, the Karaoke World Championships, apart from other competitions. There's some great, like I really like Talent Quest. I like what they do, but they have a totally different scoring method. It's a different scoring method. And I've been involved in other competitions, in fact, just recently, where someone just brought out all their friends and they got the most applause. So they won an applause award. And a lot of people are always so afraid of competitions. I know one of the things when I'm trying to find new venues, it's one of the things they're like, well, we're going to get these singers and we're never going to see them again. And I'm always like, with KWC, I actually, in Seattle, we built our business around it with Absolute Karaoke, and we didn't even mean to. We were already holding competitions, and we actually had the same rubrics. I don't know where we found them, but we were using the same scoring method, except it was on a 5-point instead of a 10-point scale. And KWC actually came and found us and scouted us and said, we want you to be part of the competition. Your singers are amazing. But what happens is these singers that go into new venues, and they will drive 20 miles away to go to a venue that they fell in love with, that has great sound, has great singers, has a great KJ. A lot of bars don't think that. And I'm like, trust me, I'm always looking for that next great venue to sing at, even as a KJ. Like, because when I'm not working, I want to go find a good spot. And sometimes I'm like, I'd rather just stay at home and sing in my computer, you know. But the Karaoke World Champion also brings family and togetherness and some other competitions. Look, there's always going to be drama in every competition and everything in life. You can never escape drama completely as much as you don't want it. But with Karaoke World Championships, we really want to try to focus on the togetherness and family, and also becoming a world champion and bettering yourself. So Ian, you're back.
Yay.
Can you hear me, Ian? I might type to him in the back.
And the sun's going down. I need to turn a light on.
Yep. Go turn that on. Here, hold on. I'm gonna type to Ian in the back. Maybe he can. There we go.
Thank goodness I had pants on.
Well, I'm asking Ian. I'll see if his audio is working. If he can speak to what his biggest challenge was to judging this year.
Sorry, can you repeat that question, please, Josh?
So my question to you was, what was the biggest challenge while judging this year?
I think that compared with last year, we have seen that improvement in the average video. And I think last year there were more rounds where there were a few singers who were clearly sort of head and shoulders above and ahead of everybody else. And because that quality of video has increased and improved, and that quality of performance, that has really closed the gap and put a lot more singers in competitive races in rounds. And if they're picking up the points there, if they're now, a year on, a lot of us are more comfortable with the technology as well. But if you've got those things under your belt, I think singers are more able to focus on the elements of performance then. They feel more comfortable and confident with the equipment they're using, the technology, and are able to deliver a better performance, so that their focus is able to be on that, and they're actually thinking less about making a video side of it and thinking more about the performance. So I think we saw that gap really closed, and so many rounds that were much more competitive and more people that you really want to see go through than there are spaces for. I would not want to be somebody who was gambling on who's going to make finals out of all the singers that we've got in divisionals, but I am confident that we are good.
Oh no, we lost him again.
Oh.
We'll be right back with Ian.
I have a feeling I know what he was going to say.
Yep. Oh, here he comes. He's back.
Sorry, I'm confident that whoever they are, we are going to have 12 really good singers in international finals. I can be confident in that because there are so many really good singers already in that divisional stage that whichever 12 it is, that it's going to be a fantastic lineup and fantastic opportunities to help us find who's going to represent us at Worlds.
Yeah, I fully agree. And one of the things that, I admit, as a national director, I always want more numbers. I want to see more people trying out. This year was extremely, extremely hard because after 2020, we all were in our heads, in our houses, down with anxiety. We didn't want to sing. And I want to applaud all the singers who even made that effort to make a song. At a certain point, it was like, why am I even making songs? And why am I still online? No one's watching. I know that I was doing some live shows, and all of a sudden I went from having like 150 to 200 people watching to having 10. And hey, 10 is better than 0, but it still was like, oh my gosh, like, why am I still doing this? And so it's really hard. And these singers really persevered. I know some of them hit me up saying, hey, I want to quit. I can't make a good video if my life depended on it. And now here they are in divisionals, and they made spectacular videos. So I'm just like, it's part of that training. And it's also part of, you have to move with the changes of the world. The one thing that we can't change is there's always going to be change. So, learn the technology, learn what you have to do next, learn how to roll with what's going on with the pandemic and the quality of singers, especially when we hit divisionals. And I was sort of worried about that, like I said, because I always want more numbers. But the quality of singers we had are just as strong, if not stronger, than in the past. And they've done everything they could to try to go for the title and try to get into nationals on this one.
And the variety.
Oh yeah,
variety of singers.
Yep, variety of
much more
singers,
diverse.
and also new singers that we had come in that we've never seen before. One of them, who's on here, look, he's a nice cliffhanger, is Paul Mayer, who's like another one of these great singers. And it's been a rough year for everybody, but we are still going for the gold, whether or not you jumped on that train or not. So there's a lot of people who are actually outside looking in, who are watching, and they're still big fans of KWC. They're like, I'm just waiting for it to be on stage.
Yeah.
And next year, right now, all plans are to be on stage.
Yay.
You know, but we can't control that, and I can't promise that still. So we're gonna see where that all goes for next year. And if we aren't, then be ready for another year. And we're always retooling. We retooled it from last year to this year. Last year we had live auditions that were online. We also had the video portions. And we're always retooling to see how we can make it better. This year we really want to make it really awardsy and more like an actual show you would see on TV. So when you're watching it, you get to see the uncut videos. Last year we had to cut some of the videos down and only show bits and pieces. And part of it's also the dedication of the board that we have. They've been amazing. They've been amazing. Welcome back, Ian.
Thank you. I heard what you were saying about last year and the different things that have been going on. And I think, you know, we have some broken eggs to deal with, some different ingredients. So we're frying up this omelette, right, for KWC and making the best that we can and looking at them, figuring that anybody who has serious hopes of being a professional singer needs to, at some point, learn the skill of performing to a camera.
Yep.
They are going to be performing in front of cameras. They're going, right? So this is a time when a lot of singers have been able to pick up additional skills that they maybe wouldn't have had the time and opportunity to focus on before. And KWC has, you know, narrowed the focus there in helping people develop those specific skill sets that in the long term, if they're going to be a successful singer, they will really appreciate and get value from.
Oh, yeah. And it even crosses over outside of singing. Any kind of communications that you have with people, you can have that skill because you want to direct your attention to everybody that you're speaking to instead of just looking straight on at one person or that they think you're looking at. So it can really cross over off stage as well.
What I'm always working on is I'm looking down at you guys on my screen, but my camera's up here. So like I'm like talking to you guys, but I'm not looking in the camera. But you know what's funny is it's actually video used to be so easy for me. And although Katie will attest to that, she'll probably say no, it wasn't always easy because we tried to live stream national finals a few times without help of other people, and it didn't come out as good as we hoped. But my degree's in film. But over this last year, it seems like I've hit every challenge from computers dying out. All of a sudden, my cameras stop reading. And so I want to say to the singers that I'm right there with you in your boat. Like I've been facing the same types of challenges, and I'm really comfortable in front of a camera. But you know, it's hard. It's really hard to be in back and behind the camera. But I also was acting for years. I'm in movies and commercials and things like that. But even this is still different because the technology is different and you don't have a whole crew. You're your own crew the whole time. Sound, video, green screen background, special effects,
lighting.
We have lighting. And we've all been on top of it, including our mentors have helped out. And Ian's actually battling it right now. You know, and you never know. You never know when your internet's going to be great or, you know, it's so spotty everywhere. And
what was it? Two years ago in Vegas? Was that the first year you started with the computerized scoring?
Yeah, so that actually came from Canada. So Canada developed that. And I remember the first time they brought it up to us, and we were like, I don't know. In the first year, the first 2 months, there were a lot of bumps, a lot of speed bumps. but it helped out so much. And by the end of the year, we had it down. There wasn't lag time. The hardest thing is that we don't have full access, so we can't change scores. We can't, if a judge judges the wrong video, we have to actually call them up and say, hey, we need this reset. We need to do a new scoring. And sometimes it's multiple judges and things like that. Oh, this is the wrong singer. You don't realize it. You're typing, you're like, oh, that wasn't the singer that was supposed to be doing. But what's great is it speeds up the process. The numbers are right. We don't have to worry about, well, we still double check all of our numbers, but the numbers, we haven't seen any issues with that for years. And it's that scoring system and the note taking, it's so much better than on paper.
I'll never forget the first day in Las Vegas that year when I walked down, of course, expecting to handwrite everything. I was all ready. And I walked in and they said, okay, well, this is all computerized now. And I said, because I'm not technically very savvy. So I was sweating bullets because I knew I was going to mess it up. But it worked so well. And it really was a great experience. So I've loved using it.
Yeah. Welcome back.
Another thing that I found, and I think Ian and I had messaged each other about this in a comment, the potential. I think this year is a key word. There have been so many contestants that I have seen so much potential, whereas in the past year, you can kind of see the people that are trying really hard, the people that are doing it for fun, and then there's a couple that, okay, they have potential. But this year, there's been a lot of potential.
Yep.
So if they can make it to that point where they have the coaches, and the coaches can direct them the right way, they can just, the sky's the limit.
And one of the things that you can't judge on this year, Trevor, is people's shoes, if they're wearing shoes or not.
Well, yeah.
That was, it's so funny because I remember when whatever that note was about someone not wearing shoes, and they thought it was someone completely different. We were laughing so hard. We're like, oh, no.
Well, I have actually told a contestant, there was a contestant, it was a local contest here in Florida, and I was outside before the show, and a contestant came out, and they were in their outfit, and they had flip-flops on. Mm-hmm. And I just looked at them and I said, okay, the show hasn't started yet. I need to ask you, are you wearing those on your feet for the competition? And they said, yes. I said, do you have other shoes with you? They said, no. I said, then kick those flip-flops off.
Right, you're better.
You will never wear flip-flops on the stage for a competition.
Right, yeah. Exactly. And what I love what Miriam's quote was, you may not even know if they're wearing pants. That's true. Right. That's true. That's true. There are, however, there are some singers you get to see more of their torso than most. It's all about camera angle. About camera angle.
Oh,
yeah. Ian, can you hear us now?
Well, I heard that.
Oh, yay. That's awesome. Awesome. I was also saying, Ian, that you also understand on the technical issues, because one day you'll have internet and the next day your internet's super spotty. And look, I don't think he can hear anything I'm saying right now. So
is he in Vegas with you?
He is in Vegas. He's in Vegas. He's across town. Yeah. And you know what? Before living here, one of my biggest fears was my cell phone service and internet service is going to be god awful. And then I moved here, and you know what? My cell phone service and my internet service is god awful. It doesn't make sense. We're the entertainment capital of the world, and like all these people, and we're like the biggest playground. Why wouldn't we have a good internet like everywhere and free? Like it should be free.
Yeah.
So and we lost Ian again. And we have about 10 minutes left. What were there any performances that you saw before divisionals that you were surprised you didn't see the person later on? Like, I know as a judge, you know, because you guys don't actually see the end score, so like you don't even know who's moving on. You don't know who's moving on to nationals. None of us do.
No.
But then you get to that next round, and then the person you think is going to be there, and you're like, wait, what? What happened to this person? And yes, some people drop out. I know we had a singer drop out because they lost their voice due to what's going on in the world. So we, you know, but and it happens every year, no matter if it's live or recorded. But
for me, it's actually been the opposite.
Okay.
I can't say there's anybody off the top of my head that I saw early on that I didn't see. There are some people that I saw early on that I was surprised to see later on.
Okay.
And that's what's so great about having a wide range of judges and their different opinions, because they hear different things, they see different things, they look at it from a different perspective. And now my train of thought just went away.
Yeah. And actually, I was trying to get to that earlier. That's one of the reasons why we don't go with 3 judges anymore. We have a big sample, the sample size. The Olympic scoring takes out, if you fall in love with someone or didn't fall in love with someone earlier, we really try to get rid of the bias. And sometimes though, you're so remembering a performance before, and then they come out and they do the same song, and then you're like, oh, really? That other time you did it was so good. And you don't mean to do it. And I know it, and I'm not saying you, I'm just meaning it as a judge. And you're trying to judge within that realm, you know. It's sort of like what, you know, you end up sort of not screwing that, like the bias ends up coming in, but that's why Olympic scoring is great, because it's going to get rid of any time that happens. And if you have a really nice judge who's really like, everyone's a 10, which we don't have that anymore, but it's happened in the past, and they tell everybody that scoring gets rid of that. And when we look at scoring, it's actually, you know, I always want to tell singers that they shouldn't think about the actual score they got. Or like, what a judge, like, why did this judge score me so low? Because when you ask for your notes, you actually see the scores and the breakdown of voice, technique, artistry, stage presence, and those notes should always define why that happens. And sometimes it doesn't. It's just like, oh, great job. You know, we always want to make sure that there's more than that in there. But when you see it and you're like, oh my God, this judge gave me an 8 and this judge gave me a 3.5. Like, what's wrong with this judge? But if you look at that judge who's scoring the 3.5, their 3.5 is an 8. Like, that's how that is. They're really tough, and that's their style. And it's not a bias. It's just everyone has their own opinion. And we love that about our competition. We want to hear all the voices of all of our judges. And I'm always like, you know, those scores are only, we do look at to see if someone's being accused of bias. We go back and we look at the scores. And you can usually track it on a graph without using numbers, the same pattern as other judges. And of course, there's some judges who like people more than others. So but you'll usually find that almost everyone's in agreement most of the way. And then everyone has their favorite or two, you know, that's a little bit higher.
Yeah. But that's one thing I love about my history in this field, is because I've learned so much. And I've judged when Florida sent 40 some contestants to the national contest. And then you have me, the only judge from Florida, on a panel of 3 judges.
You had 40? Oh my God.
We sent 7 that actually won categories in Florida, and then the rest of them self-sponsored to the contest. That's how much they loved the contest.
Right.
And I'd be walking down the hall or getting in an elevator, and everybody would exit because they knew I was a judge and they didn't want to take a chance of being anywhere near me. But I learned that, you know, I'm going to see these people, whether it's a stage here in Florida or whether it's in Las Vegas, and I'm going to see them the next year if I'm involved again. And I can't think about what they did last year. I can only judge them on what they've done on that stage or in that video in that certain amount of time. And so I've had to put that aside. I don't even watch your shows where you announce people moving on in the top 3 in the categories, because I don't want to know. I don't want to know who made it. I don't want to know how they did, what they did, until I get the next set of videos that I need to judge. And that
That's
way
awesome.
I'm also, like you, surprised to see who's there.
Yeah, back in the day, people used to always ruin the surprise. Oh, I was just about to go to Ian. People that you would ruin the surprise and tell me. After I tell them, don't tell me, they would still tell me. And they'd be like, "Why'd you do that?" My first year at Worlds in Vancouver, the year that we were offered the World Partnership, they came and told me the results like 20 minutes before, and I'm like, I want to share that experience with my singers. That's like a really, like, we're all a team, you know. I don't want to know if they're moving, if they're gold or silver or bronze or didn't make it. I want to have that feeling. I actually in Arkansas too, when we were doing national finals there, I was told beforehand about my singers who didn't make it, and I was like, so now I have to sit next to my singer knowing they're not moving on. And seeing how excited they are, and I'm like, oh my gosh, I'm like, this will never. And when we became the world partners, we're like, this is never happening like that ever again. So it's always great. Ian, welcome back. So we have like just a few minutes left, and Ian, I want you to talk about the experience of not only finding these judges, but what it takes to be a judge. Can you hear what I'm saying?
So there are 2 main qualities that we need in our judges. One is the capability to identify and understand what a good performance is. You know, can they tell when someone's off key, when someone's in pitch? Do they understand what dynamics are? Do they understand performance? And a lot of the time, we know that our judges can do that because they're successful in their field. They've got a career. They've already done it. The other thing is, how do they communicate? Can they put across what it is that they like, what it is someone can improve on? Can they work with the team in that way and put the feedback there? And we got a lot of referrals for judges from the board of KWC USA. Thomas and I have also reached out to a lot of personal contacts and people that we know in the business, and been able to bring on a really diverse group. And that's one thing that I'm really proud of that we have. That not just in terms of backgrounds, personalities, but also careers. It's not just performers. We've had producers, casting agents, academics, people from different singing disciplines as well, folk singers, people from rock bands, and people who compose soundtracks. Lots of different ways that people have to think about music and performance professionally. Lots of different professional skills and backgrounds that mean their brains work slightly differently when thinking about these performances, so that we can bring in as many different ways of looking at it as possible, while using that rubric to just help us find those best possible people. But making sure that we're working with qualified judges who have that talent and experience, they've walked the walk and know how to talk about that, bringing it all together.
Exactly. We did talk about early in the season about giving a test to our judges. I'm really happy though that we did not go with testing our judges. There's great tests out there. I think it was it Harvard, the Harvard test, or that Miriam would know that she might chime in. But there was a test that we were talking about in our board meetings that we want to maybe bring into make sure a judge can hear pitch and hear tone and hear timbre and hear all those things. And at a certain point, it's like, you know what, we need to, it was a Harvard test. It was a Harvard test. Thanks, Miriam. And, but the biggest thing is we just need to have trust in our judges. We need to make sure they're taking the detailed notes. We need to make sure the scoring is this not the same, but is the word congruent? I want to say the congruent, but I don't feel like that's the right word. But it jives with the rest. Like it's not just totally off the beaten path. It's not that they're giving like, oh, this person's technique is amazing, and everyone else is like, whoa. We want them to be able to have that ability to see that technique or at least understand it. A few years ago, we had a chocolatier who is an ex flute player. And everyone was like, why do you have a chocolatier on your national board? And I'll tell you, she was her notes were so detailed, and she knew classical music, and she knew about tone and timbre. And so it's really great to have this wide variety. And this year I felt like this was the best variety. Every year we get better with our judges. And if we have better judges, we're going to have better singers, going to have better competition. We're going to have a better chance at Worlds. So, and that is a big kudos to you, Ian, and also Thomas, and also Trevor. Trevor, you're our vet, man. You've
OG.
Yep, OG, and
OJ.
So it's pretty amazing what we've done, and I can't wait to see the show. I know Miriam and Dagan are busy producing the final product of the divisionals. Divisionals are going to get shown next week on the 8th on the bronze and the silver, and then singers are going to have to wait until the 15th to see the gold and the blue ribbon round. Wow. So we aren't even going to know who's the winners of the gold or the blue ribbon until the 15th, and then we really hope that all these singers already are working on their national videos and getting those videos ready. And one thing I do want to say to all the singers who are watching, and you're starting to make the videos for nationals, the thing about these videos that you're making for nationals, you're going into I don't like calling it a training program because it is the national finals. The thing is that you're going to get trained within, you're going to get like mentored and time with these professionals and people who have been within the competition to know what you need to do to improve. So the videos that you send, we want them to be the best performance videos that you are and Worlds ready, because we want to be able to help you. I wouldn't say fix, but we want to tweak what you're doing to make you become the next world champ. But at the same time, you don't have to worry too much about your backgrounds, because that's only your start. That's just to show your coaches what you're all about, what song it is, how you present the story. So those type of things, then they can look and be like, okay, now what are you thinking of? Oh, when you were singing, I'm thinking about this. Or maybe your dynamics aren't there. Maybe you're just like all one dynamic. It's because you're singing on a camera. So you're like just belting everything. Because I know that happens. So remember about your dynamics and about the story. It's okay to quieter. It's okay to bring your audio back, your backing track up a little bit more. All those types of things, because they also need something to work with. And so if you come out of the gate with this great video, which is great, they're going to work with you on it. Trust me, they're going to still pick it apart. But it shouldn't be nerve-wracking to make those videos as much as they were for divisionals. No. So because you'll have 3 videos, and throughout those weeks you'll have a week and a half with those coaches, or pretty much a full week with those coaches working on that video.
And I know I often say a lot about what they're wearing, because their appearance is part of what they're being judged on. And as a judge, I'm not looking for the most expensive, the most glittery outfit, because, for example, country or rock, they're not going to wear a bunch of glitter. They're going to wear something appropriate. But coming in a pair of cutoff shorts and a tank top or a t-shirt for a competition of this level is not appropriate. So find what's comfortable for you, what works for your song. And you shouldn't wear the same thing for 2 songs, because each song has a different feel.
Yep.
So
however, if the song is like Man of Constant Sorrow, then they can wear their cutoffs and their tank top. And they can put a piece of wheat in their mouth. And
well, for example, this year, I think one of our deadlines for the cutoff was July 4th. And when I saw a couple of the videos, I think they actually recorded their videos at a 4th of July
Oh yeah,
party.
you heard the fireworks in the background.
Yeah. and they were dressed accordingly. So when I make comments about appearance, it's not that I'm looking for something more expensive or more glittery or flashy. It's something that's appropriate to the song and to respect the competition, and also to stand up to your talent as a vocalist. Respect your ability and your talent. But yeah, your point on the judges this year, I have been so impressed because I've seen so many different names popping up on the judges' corner and the conversations. And I go and I do the research and I look and I see who they are. And I'm just blown away to see. And it's such a nice addition this year of the different variety of judges, and the qualifications are just incredible.
And you guys look like you're having fun. I know I'm like in the chat. I try not to like, I let you guys be you. Like, I don't want to be in there and be like, you need to be talking. But no, you guys are having fun. You're talking and bantering back and forth. And that's the one thing about this competition. We always want you guys to have fun, whether it's the judges or the competitors or our board. Katie and I are always talking about, like, if it's not fun, you're doing it wrong. So let's always try to
I've always said, if I'm no longer having fun with this, it's the last year I'm going to do it.
Yep. And Miriam's here. We have great coaches who work with the national finalists, and the judge will even have a harder time judging. Yes.
Thank you. Good.
Yeah. Make it hard on our judges.
Yes.
Make it hard on them. Ian, do you have any last thoughts of what you think? Because we're going into nationals next. You're done with the divisionals. Any last thoughts that you want to give to our singers or even our judges?
You know, I'll just say, I understand why in theory we talk about things like the Harvard test, but when you look at the caliber of judges that we have somebody, you know, from a rock band that sold 5 million albums. We have a singer who's on the 5th album of their professional career. We have somebody who's toured the world and played over 1,500 shows on the Strip. When you look, and you see this again and again and again, every round, the caliber of judges that we have, they've passed the test. They've already proven themselves because they've already done professionally the kind of thing that we want to see our KWC singers go on to do. So, you know, they've already passed a bigger test than we could get from Harvard, and we see that in their careers and what they've achieved. I think if you look at total album sales for our judges this year, including everyone up to the end of national finals that we have scheduled, I think it's something like 13 million albums. And it's incredible the quality of people that we've been able to bring in and work with the judges, and the contribution that they're making and the excitement that they have as well. That's one of the really fun things for my position is, you know, you get commitments from people, and there's always a kind of a, will they show up on the night? Will they show up? Will they? And they're there and they're excited, and like, oh my goodness, they were amazing. Yeah. They were so good. That is really validating for our KWC singers, for KWC, for what we're all trying to do here.
I also want to bring up something about our judges. So, two of our judges, Teresa Mala and Dean Perry, they actually just won the Best of Vegas for their show, for their lounge show. It's the Best of Vegas. And I have watched these two grow. And out here in Vegas, if you want to get in the music business and you want to be a performer, you've got to claw and fight and prove yourself over and over and over and over. And their show, I mean, I remember when they were putting it together, and there were many people who were like, oh, it's not going to get off the ground. It's not going to get anywhere. And from day one, they were set out to have fun, show that fun on stage, bring that fun to the audience and make that audience have fun. But B, to make that show become one of the biggest out here. And they were doing it in a pandemic. Wow. They were doing that in a pandemic. And they're playing at venues that are, look, it's hard to get into the Italian American Club out here. Wow. It is, for me, it's like, that's where the good old boys network out here. And and they earned it. And meanwhile, when we asked them to judge, and I know Dean's actually been a judge in the past for the Nevada competition, they were just so honored, and they took their experiences, into that. And I know that all the people, everyone from Norman is now, he's his own boss. Has this giant network, and it's hard to do that, especially when you're a self-motivator. Like, he's out there trying to motivate people as well and motivate himself. And he's proven himself, and he's constantly, it's that whole trials. So when they're all doing it, and you see people who have 15,000 gigs they've sang, or venues they've sang at, it's like, that shows how much work and dedication they have. And they put that same dedication into what we were. I was sort of worried, because I'm like, oh my God, these people are so busy. They are not going to have time, which is also why I'm not the judge coordinator. Because I never want to interrupt them. But these people are more than happy to jump in and be like, yeah, I want to judge. And we tell them right off the bat. I think, and Trevor even knows this as a judge, and I know that some of our past judges, if there's ever a problem with what's going on in life, or you can't do it, it's okay. We understand, it's family first, health first, or even your time, like, because you don't want to let people down. And I always love that our judges are always really good about telling us, like, hey, I might have been able to judge this, I can't judge this, and I'm so sorry, because they don't want to say no. They're so involved in this too. They love this. So it's a great testament to KWC.
Yep.
So guys, I would love to, we're going to end with this. Like, thank you so much for coming out here, and, sharing this with everybody. And Thomas also, I wish he was in this, our judges coordinator, but he said every judge is at a blast in Georgia time judging, and they always want more. And the biggest thing for these singers is you have to realize you are making content, and content is the way to sell yourself as an artist, whether or not it's in this competition. And you take those videos that you've made and you start sending them out and get your gigs. Because once you're out of the divisionals and nationals, though, once you're done showing that, but that way you can also really build yourself as an entertainer. This is more than just a competition. This can be your life. This is part of your journey. Why we say the journey of stardom is because this could be your road to becoming the next big thing. Our other champs from other countries, some are huge. Some won Grammys, and it's amazing what you can do through this competition.
Oh yeah.
But again, thank you guys so much. Thank you, Thomas. Thank you, Miriam. I know you guys are watching and commenting from home. Thank you, all the judges. I know I was hoping that we could get more on. Thank you guys, though. I know it's hard to get the timing all right, especially with time zone changes and everything, because you don't even realize, you're like, oh wait, it's 5 o'clock there now. Okay. So, and I want to thank all of the singers, not only the ones who were in divisionals, but all the ones who have competed, not only this year, but have really built what KWC is today. And we're going strong. We have big plans for next year we're already working on. And right now we're just trying to find out who the next US champ is. And I'm watching what's going on in the other worlds. It's not going to be easy, but I still feel like we always have the best shot. So,
yeah.
All right, guys. Well, take care. Love you guys. Mwah.
Love you all too.
Thanks, Josh.
You're welcome.
Josh,
we'll talk to you all very soon. And everybody at home, if you want to know more about the Karaoke World Championships, I know it's too late to get involved for this year as a singer, but you can still go to our website at kwcteamusa.com. Find out more. You can watch all the videos there also. All the singers from all the rounds, all the auditions. You'll get to see all of the videos, both 1 and 2, because there are 2 videos each singer put in. So you get to watch them there. Send your friends there, and spread the word, because we're still looking for a world champion for next year. All right. Bye, everybody.